Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 118, so let's get to it. Episode 118 begins with Steven and Ash about to begin their battle. Meowth says, "This is it, the Brat Boy." James adds, "Against some impressive guy." At this point, I just think that Team Rocket is terrible at recognizing people and or at remembering names, since they had trouble remembering Alon and Iris in the two previous episodes. And now, James refers to Steven as some impressive guy, even though they have met Steven several times. Jessie then says, "The Brat Boy has no chance, does he?" She is completely disinterested in the battle. She is even eating a snack without a care in the world. The episode then cuts to Go, who tells Hop to scoot over, so that Iris can sit with them. Hop does move over, but he soon exclaims while in shock, "The Champion of Alola!" when he sees Iris. Iris greets Hop and she says that she heard that Hop is Leon's little brother. Iris then says that it's nice to meet Hop, who says that it's nice to meet Iris. Iris then embraces Wooloo while exclaiming that Wooloo is so fluffy. This is a very adorable moment. Hop then wonders why Iris is here in the stands. Go says that Iris wants to feel the excitement of the stadium firsthand. Hop exclaims that this is the same reason why Ash decided to watch from the stands. Now, it's odd that this is presented as the reason why Iris is here on the stands, because in the previous episode, she clearly said to Go, "Let's root for Ash together." The episode then cuts to the battlefield, where the referee goes over the regulations for the battle. Each trainer can use 3 Pokemon. There is no limit on match length or switching out Pokemon. Whoever makes all 3 of their opponent's Pokemon unable to battle will be the winner. Additionally, trainers are only allowed a single use of only one of the following: Mega Evolution, C-Move, or Dynamax. Now I love that in episode 115, this last rule was illustrated by showing Ash, Alon, and Leon using a C-Move, Mega Evolution, and Dynamax respectively. But now they just show Ash, because he is currently equipped to use all 3. Ash then says to Steven, "We will be heading on to the semifinals." Steven says, "You sound so confident, despite facing me." He then says that he cannot wait to see how this battle will go. And he says this while looking at Ash's Mega Glove, C-Ring, and Dynamax Band. This is of course because Steven has no idea which one Ash will use, hence why he is eager to see what will happen in the battle. Ash and Steven then send out their first Pokemon at the same time. Steven's first Pokemon is Metagross, which surprised me since I did not expect him to use his ace right off the bat. Ash's first Pokemon is Dracovish, which is nice. Always cool to see Dracovish in action. The episode then cuts to the locker room where Leon says, "Let's see what you've got, rookie." Clearly he is eager to see how Ash will do against a fellow champion. With both trainers and the Pokemon ready to go, the battle finally begins. Now I hate to sound like a broken record, but I have to say that I hate that they keep wasting so much time to get to the actual battle. There is no reason to waste time by showing us a recap of the previous episodes. Though at least the recap here in episode 118 is shorter than the recap in episode 117, which was a minute long. They also spent way too much time showing what the other characters have to say. I don't know why they bothered to have the Masters Tournament episodes all end with the start of the next battle or with the next battle about to begin, only to then have the following episode not begin with the battle already underway or with the battle starting right away. Their refusal to maximize the time each battle gets has really hurt this tournament in my eyes, which is a shame. So Dracovish begins with Water Gun and Metagross counters with Agility, which allows it to dodge the Water Gun with ease. Metagross then uses Psychic and Dracovish counters with Fish's Rend. Dracovish ends up striking first, stopping Metagross in its track, much to Steven's dismay and Ash's joy. However, while Metagross was intercepted and stopped, it is still able to use Psychic to fling Dracovish across the battlefield, though Dracovish soon recovers, while Metagross is pushed back, and it shows that it took some good damage. Hop says that Ash is doing well. Go mentions that Fish's Rend does more damage if it strikes first. Iris then says that Dracovish's ability is Strong Jaw, so Fish's Rend did even more damage. It is worth noting that this reveals what ability Ash's Dracovish has. It is also worth noting that Metagross did indeed take a lot of damage, since it does not resist water-type attacks and it was hit by a Strong Jaw boosted Fish's Rend that landed first. Therefore, Metagross was hit with a move that has 255 base power, which is insanely strong. For reference, this is stronger than every max move and every C move. And this power is without factoring Stab, which boosts the power of the move even further. So Metagross is hit with the Pokemon equivalent of a nuke. It is honestly impressive that Metagross was able to endure such a hit. Now yes, I know that the anime does not always follow the games, and even when it does, it is sometimes not completely faithful. But since Iris and Go recognized the power boost of Strong Jaw and Fish's Rend respectively, I will assume that in this case, the anime is following the logic of the games. Steven says, "So, you predicted that," showing that Steven realizes that Ash deliberately had Dracovish intercept Metagross. Ash then recalls his training battle with Paul, where Paul had his Metagross use agility to get close so that it can then strike with Psychic, which is what Steven tried to do. Ash says, "Paul, our battle helped me out." Ash then realizes that the training really did prepare him to face Steven. The episode then cuts to Paul's house, where he and Reggie are still watching the tournament. Paul smiles because he sees that his training with Ash came in handy after all. This is such a cool moment, because it shows that Paul is genuinely happy because he helped Ash, showing that Paul is now very much a friend of Ash. Also, I did say in my review of episode 117 that it's great that Paul is watching the tournament, because he will get to see in action the results of his training with Ash. But I did not think that we would actually get to see Paul's reaction when he sees Ash put their training to good use. So this was quite a treat and a great way to continue and enhance Paul's impact in Pokemon Journeys. So Steven withdraws Metagross, which is not surprising, since of course, Metagross has to be used for the final battle. Steven then sends out Aggron, which is cool since we have not seen Steven's Aggron since the Ruby and the Sapphire series. So it has been a while since we last saw his Aggron. To be exact, it has been 907 episodes. Now Go uses his Pokédex on Aggron, and again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but do we really need to see this? This is just wasting more time. This might be a petty complaint since this is something that happens in almost every episode of the Pokemon anime. But it is annoying here in this tournament because we just wanted to see the battles without interruptions or filler. So it's aggravating when they waste the time on things like this, especially since they also waste time in so many other ways. So Steven says, "Ash, I am the strongest and most impressive trainer in the Hoenn region right now. But this is not enough to satisfy me. The Pokemon World Coronation Series. By winning this tournament, I will be able to call myself the one true, strongest and most impressive trainer." Now it is surprising to see Steven this excited, and it is surprising that he wants to be the strongest and most impressive trainer, since he has always been so calm, collected, laid back, and he tends to joke around a lot. So he is not the kind of person to adamantly exclaim that he wants to be the strongest. Therefore, we see a new side to Steven in this episode. In fact, Diantha even says that she has never seen Steven be so intense before, and Alan nods in agreement. I love that these two seem to be in sync, since in the previous episode, Alan was the one that said something that is true, and Diantha is the one that nodded in agreement. I guess that as fellow trainers from Kalos, they think alike. Also, I love that while Steven talks, they cut it to the Hoenn region to show that several trainers are watching the battle on TV. And Janet, Beto, Kane, Jimmy, Kelly, Katie, Tyson, Morrison, Professor Birch, Harley, and Drew are all seen here watching the battle, which is very cool. I have loved every moment like this in previous episodes of this tournament, and I love this one as well, especially since they brought back more characters than in previous episodes. Though honestly, I did not remember most of these characters. I had to actually look them up in order to remember them since most of them were just minor characters. So this moment is pretty much a Ruby and the Sapphire series memorial. Also, I did say in my review of the previous episode that hopefully, for Steven/Hoenn, they show May, Max, their family, Wallace, Drew, and Harley. Well, I got part of my wish granted, but it is a shame that we did not get to see May, Max, their family, or Wallace. Since Drew and Harley do appear in this episode, May should have appeared too, since the three of them are basically inseparable. In fact, this is the first time that Drew and Harley appear, but May doesn't. Also, Wallace said in episode 105 of Journeys that he is equal to Steven, but Steven said that he is the strongest trainer in Hoenn. I bet that Wallace would not be too happy to hear this, so I would have loved to see his reaction. In response to what Steven said, Ash says, "The same goes for us, for everyone who cheered us on all the way here, and for the Pokemon too. I have to win this." I love that while Ash talks, they do cut to Professor Oak's lab, where Ash's old Pokemon are watching the tournament alongside Professor Oak, Ash's mom, and Tracy, who we last saw 736 episodes ago, which is a very long time. In fact, this is now the longest a main character has gone without making a physical appearance in the main anime. Now, seeing all these characters is of course nice, even if we saw all of them except for Tracy just a few episodes ago. Though I was surprised because based on the previews, I thought that only a few of Ash's old Pokemon would watch the battle. But they are all here, which is very cool. I do wanted to mention also that only one Tauros appears here. This is likely the main Tauros, which is the one Ash has used in battle. While Ash talks, the episode also cuts to Cerise Institute, where Chloe, her Eevee, Professor Cerise, Krisa, Maimi, and Ren are also watching the battle. It is also nice to see these characters, even if they are not returning characters. Also, it's odd that they did not cut to Alola here to show the Sun and Moon characters watching the battle. I guess that episode 112 is to blame for this. So the battle resumes, with Dracovish using Dragon Rush, while Aggron counters with Heavy Slam. Both Pokemon crash into each other like two locomotives. However, Dracovish is sent flying, while Aggron stands strong, showing which of the two is physically stronger. Dracovish does manage to stand back up, which made me very happy. Ash wonders if Dracovish can keep battling, and Dracovish is like, "Yeah, I can." But then, when Dracovish tries to take a step forward, it falls over instead and it is knocked out, which surprised me and broke my heart. It's not like I expected that Dracovish would carry the team or anything, but I did hope that Dracovish would do more, so I am disappointed that it was defeated so fast and without doing much. Sure, it did land a very powerful hit on Metagross, but still, it did not do enough, which is a shame. It is also unbelievable that Dracovish is taken out so quickly and easily. It was only hit by 2 attacks, one of which Dracovish has a resistance against. When you consider how much punishment Dracovish took during the battle against the Drasna, while still being able to fight till the end, you have to wonder if Dracovish would really be defeated by 1 normal hit and 1 not very effective hit. But I guess that, as usual, someone had to take the L so that the other Pokemon can shine, and Dracovish was chosen to be the sacrifice this time. Which is just awful when you consider that of the Pokemon in Ash's Journeys team, Dracovish is the one that has been in the least amount of battles and it has only defeated 2 opponents. Therefore, it has had less time to shine. Now this is understandable since Dracovish was the last one to join the team, but Dracovish deserves to shine more and this battle presented the perfect chance to do this. But this opportunity was squandered, which is unfortunate. At least, Dracovish did more than the other Pokemon that were sacrificed in this tournament, like Iris's Dragonite and Alon's Malamar. Also, it is worth noting that Heavy Slam does damage based on how much lighter the target is when compared to the user. Dracovish weighs 474 pounds and Aggron weighs 793.7 pounds. So Dracovish is approximately 40.3% lighter than Aggron, and thus the base power of Heavy Slam was just 60, so pretty weak. Again, the anime does not follow the games perfectly, but if Heavy Slam works the same way, then it makes even less sense that Dracovish was knocked out by Heavy Slam, especially since Dracovish has a resistance to Steel-type moves. Iris is sad because Dracovish lost, while Go says that Steven is strong. Jessie angrily chomps on her snack while saying, "See, the brat boy just can't cut it." James wonders if Jessie is angry and Jessie exclaims that she is not angry, which is obviously not true. She is clearly frustrated because Ash is losing. So Ash withdraws and praises Dracovish for doing its best. Ash then sends out his second Pokemon, which is Gengar. Gengar begins by using its new move, Will-O-Wisp, which lands a direct hit on Aggron, who is soon afflicted with the burn status effect. Now Steven says, "A fire-type move?" while sounding and looking annoyed, like he is troubled because Gengar used a fire-type move. This is odd because Will-O-Wisp does not do damage. It only inflicts burn, which does not do more damage to Pokemon that are weak to fire. And even if this was the case, Aggron is not weak to fire-type moves because it is part rock-type. Since Steven is a steel-type user, it does make sense that he would be worried about fire-type moves. But in this case, he does not need to worry as much. Now I love that Ash's old Pokemon, particularly the fire-type Pokemon, rejoice when they see Gengar use Will-O-Wisp. So Aggron uses Smart Strike, which lands a direct hit on Gengar, who is launched back. Due to the burn, Smart Strike did do less damage than what it would do otherwise, which is why Gengar is able to stand back up. Though Gengar does this with some difficulty, which shows just how powerful Aggron is, which I guess is to be expected from a Pokemon whose Japanese name includes the words boss and god. Aggron then takes damage from the burn. Aggron uses Rock Tomb next and Gengar counters with Dazzling Gleam. While Gengar is trapped by the rocks, it manages to break through the rocks and hit Aggron with Dazzling Gleam. Though Aggron still endures, which shocks Gengar and Ash. Aggron then roars to show that it can indeed still battle. However, the burn kicks in once more and the damage it inflicts is enough to knock out Aggron for good, meaning that in the end, Will-O-Wisp came in very handy in this battle. Ash's old Pokemon celebrate Gengar's victory. Once again, the Fire-type Pokemon show more excitement. Charizard and Infernape even approach Professor Oak like, "See, the training helped." Professor Oak exclaims that the training did come in handy while happily petting Charizard and Infernape. I just love this entire scene. Ash and Gengar also celebrated their victory. Steven then withdraws and thanks Aggron. He also says to Ash, "Kudos to you." Steven then sends out his third Pokemon, which is Cradily, a new Pokemon for Steven, though he does use one in the games. Go uses his Pokédex on Cradily, so, once again, more time is wasted. Now I love that Gengar seems to mock Cradily, which is funny. Cradily begins by using Power Whip, which Gengar easily and confidently avoids at first. It's funny that Gengar does this while still mocking Cradily, like, "Haha, you can't catch me." However, Gengar is soon surrounded and smacked around by Cradily's tentacles. Gengar is then caught and trapped by the tentacles. Cradily then uses Ingrain. Alon comments that this means that Steven cannot switch out Cradily. Diantha says that this is Steven saying that he will defeat Gengar here and now. Gengar uses Sludge Bomb in an attempt to break free. I do want to point out that this reveals that Gengar forgot Ice Punch when it learned Will-O-Wisp. While Cradily takes some good damage from Sludge Bomb, it soon recovers thanks to Ingrain, and thus, Gengar is unable to break free. Cradily then begins to charge Meteor Beam. The blinding light from this gives Ash the idea to fight light with light, so he calls for Dazzling Gleam. Cradily fires off the Meteor Beam and Gengar uses Dazzling Gleam to unleash a very powerful burst of light, which is very epic. Both moves clash, which causes a massive and brilliant explosion. Now the episode cuts to commercials here, and when the episode resumes, they once again show what happened just before the break. About 20 seconds of the episode are shown again. This is just another huge waste of time and a very unnecessary one at that. I really have no idea why they would do this, and it frustrates me that they did this on top of everything else they have done to misuse time that should have been used for the battle instead. So the explosion allows Gengar to escape from Cradily's grasp. Upon seeing this, Steven says, "Not bad." Gengar then uses Shadow Ball while Cradily counters with Power Whip. Initially, Gengar is unable to fire off the Shadow Ball due to Power Whip, but after dodging a few tentacles, Gengar shoots the Shadow Ball. But Cradily uses one tentacle to swat the Shadow Ball away. It then uses the rest of the tentacles to pummel Gengar with Power Whip. Gengar is knocked out as a result, which is a shame. Seeing Gengar break free so triumphantly gave the impression that Gengar would turn the tables. But sadly, this was not the case. Still, Gengar did great in this battle overall, and you really have to admire and respect Gengar, because it went from being not so strong and not very dependable in the early parts of this series to being a very reliable powerhouse now in the later parts of this series. So Ash withdraws Gengar and he says to Gengar, "I will not let your hard work go to waste." Ash then sends out his third Pokemon, which is Pikachu. Steven says that Ash's greatest partner has arrived. Now I love that the announcer refers to Pikachu as the Flaming Bolt of Lightning, which is quite the badass title. Meowth points out that Pikachu is battling. James wonders if Pikachu can turn the battle around. Jessie exclaims, "Pikachu, if you don't win this, it's all over, you hear?" This shows that Jessie really has been rooting for Ash. Meanwhile, Iris roots for Pikachu. Hop comments that electric type moves are not very effective on Cradily. And Go mentions that things are looking tense since Ash and Pikachu also have to worry about Metagross. So Steven calls for Rock Blast. However, Pikachu uses Quick Attack to land a hit on Cradily before it can use Rock Blast. But Cradily shrugs off the hit and it still uses Rock Blast. But Pikachu jumps onto the rocks and he bounces from rock to rock, which allows him to get some good altitude. Cradily uses Power Whip on the airborne Pikachu, but Pikachu uses Electro Web to tie up all the tentacles, thus disabling them and leaving a Cradily vulnerable. This tactic shocks Steven. Leon meanwhile exclaims, "Intriguing, now that's good," while Cynthia and Diantha are both shocked. Pikachu then uses Iron Tail to land a devastating and super effective hit on Cradily, who is knocked out. Steven exclaims, "Marvelous, each and every one of your attacks surprises me." Ash says it wouldn't have been possible without Gengar setting up for Pikachu. I love that Pikachu's like, "Yeah, that's right." Jessie exclaims, "Oh, he's so strong, that's our Pikachu," while James nods in agreement. Meowth says that this is how it should be. And James says that maybe, just maybe, Ash might win. Steven withdraws and praises Cradily for doing well. He then says, "Win or lose, this will decide it all," and he sends out Metagross. So we are down to the final showdown. This leaves everyone that is watching the battle in suspense and eager to see what happens. Wasting no time, Steven proceeds to Mega Evolve Metagross. This did surprise me because I always expect that the trump card will be saved for the end, as in for when the trainer and the Pokemon in question have their backs against the wall. But I guess that Steven wants to go all out from the get-go to ensure that he will win. So Mega Metagross soon enters the battlefield. This puts Ash and the Pikachu on edge. Pikachu begins by using Thunderbolt, but Steven says it's pointless, and sure enough, Metagross easily avoids the Thunderbolt. Pikachu then fires off several Thunderbolts in succession, but it's no use. Mega Metagross darts around the battlefield, effortlessly avoiding every single Thunderbolt. Steven snaps his fingers and he says, "This is Mega Metagross. It is predicting every movement Pikachu makes." Metagross then gets close to Pikachu after avoiding a Thunderbolt and it uses Meteor Mash, which deals severe damage to Pikachu, who is launched back. This shocks most of the characters watching the battle. Diantha comments that Mega Metagross is said to have superior strategic and information processing capabilities. So Metagross is able to instantly calculate every movement and breath Pikachu takes, which is why Metagross is able to evade with ease. Cynthia then says, "You have a tough battle ahead of you, Ash." Despite taking a lot of damage, Pikachu stands strong, while Ash struggles to find a way to overcome their current predicament. Pikachu then uses Iron Tail, but Metagross easily avoids it. Metagross then uses Psychic to lift and move Pikachu around. Pikachu is then slammed into the ground, which causes massive damage. Poor Pikachu is left severely hurt, but he still stands up, showing his unyielding fighting spirit. Now at this point, I was seriously worried that Ash might lose, even though I went into this episode confident that he would win. Seeing Pikachu get pummeled like this and seeing the overwhelming odds he and Ash are facing made my confidence wane, which is great because it means that this battle was that much more thrilling. Ash is frustrated because he does not know what to do, but Pikachu still refuses to give up. Everyone watching the battle is left either shocked, fearing for Pikachu, in suspense, or watching with a serious expression. Ash soon relaxes when he realizes what they should do, and he tosses his cap to Pikachu. So, it's C-move time. Ash initiates the C-move while saying, "Let's use our full power." Now Cynthia is shocked when she sees Ash use a C-move. I guess that she has never seen one, which is odd considering that she is a researcher, and that she watched Ash's battle against Bogner. Iris is also shocked and she wonders what Ash is doing. So Hop tells her that Ash is using a C-move, while Go rejoices because Ash is finally using the C-move. Team Rocket is also shocked and they are amazed. Steven, on the other hand, is happy, and it's clear that he is delighted because he gets to face a C-move. So Ash and the Pikachu perform the poses needed to unleash their C-move, while saying the classic mantra that they always recite while casting their ultimate move. Once the ritual is completed, Pikachu discharges the 10 million Volt Thunderbolt. Now at this point I thought, wait, can't Metagross just avoid the C-move as well? And sure enough, Metagross avoids the first 3 bolts, and it gets close to Pikachu. Metagross then uses Flash Cannon at close range. However, Pikachu uses one of the bolts to intercept the Flash Cannon. This keeps Metagross from moving since it is firing the Flash Cannon, which is holding back a bolt. Because it cannot move, Metagross is unable to dodge the remaining bolts, and it is hit by all 3 of them. This causes Metagross to crash into the ground. Steven is shocked, and he says that Pikachu is commanding the electricity. Which, yeah, he is. Pikachu is Zeus now, which is so cool. Pikachu then dives towards the incapacitated Metagross and he lands a full power Iron Tail in slow motion, which is so epic. especially since Pikachu is still wearing Ash's cap. This Iron Tail ends up being the decisive move, since Metagross is knocked out, so Ash is the winner. I do want to point out that every previous time that Pikachu has used 10 million Bolt Thunderbolt, whoever is on the receiving end is wrecked. But Metagross was actually able to endure the C move and Pikachu had to use Iron Tail to land the coup de grace. So Metagross is very resilient, especially when you consider that it was also hit with an insanely powerful Vicious Rend. Steven's Metagross is definitely one of the toughest Pokemon in the anime. So Ash and Pikachu celebrated their victory. Since Ash won, he advances to the semifinals where he will face Cynthia. Upon seeing this, Cynthia smiles and she says, "So, you made it, Ash." Now this gave me chills, because while I knew that Ash would go on to battle Cynthia, seeing and hearing Cynthia say this made me realize that yes, it's happening. Ash will indeed battle Cynthia, which is something that I have wanted to see for so very long. And the realization that this dream moment really is almost here made me feel incredibly excited and thrilled. My hype and anticipation shot through the roof. So Hop says in excitement that Pikachu and the others under Ash's guidance were incredible. I love how adorable Wooloo looks here. Also, it's sad that Hop did not learn that Ash already knew Steven. We are robbed of seeing Hop be once again shocked because Ash knows even more champions. Iris, Go, and Grookey are delighted because Ash won. It's cute how Iris and Go race and lower Grookey. They all then declare that they will have a Galar Curry party to celebrate. Meanwhile, Meowth says, "That's our Pikachu." James says, "That's our Brat Boy." Jessie says that Ash winning is quite the upset, and that just maybe Ash might go on to win the tournament. Like I said in my review of the previous episode, it's always funny when Team Rocket end up momentarily supporting Ash or one of his friends. Steven then approaches Ash and Pikachu, and he basically says what he says in Ruby and Sapphire and their remakes when he is defeated by the player. This is a cool nod to the games. The episode then cuts to the outside of the stadium, where Steven, Alon, and Iris talk to Ash. Steven says to Ash, "You are facing Cynthia next, but I am sure that you and Pikachu can win. I believe in you." Alon then says, "Ash, you better win." It is worth noting that this is the first and only time that Alon talks to Ash during this arc, which is such a shame, and this really exemplifies one of my main problems with this arc. Ash did not get to interact enough with the rest of the Masters 8, excluding Iris. Also, Ash does not say anything to Alon in response, so they don't really interact. Iris says that she will be waiting to hear that Ash won. Ash does reply to Iris. He says, "Yeah, leave it to me." Go says that Ash cannot let his guard down, and Ash says that he knows this, and that he will definitely battle Leon. Steven, Alon, and Iris then bid farewell, and they presumably return to their respective region. It's so sad to see them go. Also, it is worth noting that Iris says best wishes when she says goodbye, which is the name of the Black and White series. Iris did say goodbye like this in episode 65 of Journeys as well. The episode then cuts to the stadium, where Leon looks at the battlefield with a serious expression. He is clearly ready for the battles to come. The episode ends by showing the 4 semifinalists, while the narrator says, which of these trainers will win their way into the finals. So overall, I did like this episode. I think that the battle was good. Definitely not perfect, but it was nonetheless pretty cool and intense. It even had me on the edge of my seat, since I did wonder if Ash would lose when I saw Pikachu take so much damage. I do hate that they once again wasted the time unnecessarily by showing us a recap and by having Go use his Pokédex on Pokemon we have seen several times before. The time they wasted on pointless things like this should have been used for the battle instead. this would have fixed most of the issues I have with the battle, since said issues stem from lack of time. That being said, at least this battle was better paced than Leon vs. Alon and Cynthia vs. Iris. Moving on to the battle itself, like I stated earlier, I do think that it was good overall. I do hate that Dracovish was defeated so quickly and without doing much, but at this point, I guess that I should just accept that some Pokemon will be sacrificed so that others can shine. At least, Dracovish did more than Iris's Dragonite and Alon's Malamar. I am very happy that Gengar was able to do so much. Its new move helped it overcome Aggron, which was a tough opponent, and despite enduring such a difficult battle, Gengar went on to do pretty well against Cradily. So much so, in fact, that I even thought that Gengar would defeat Cradily. Sadly, it didn't, but still, Gengar did really well, which is great. While it did not get off to the best start in this series, Gengar is now very much a dependable powerhouse, which is awesome and an amazing case of character development. And speaking of powerhouses, the real star of this battle was Pikachu. He really showed why he is one of Ash's strongest and most reliable Pokemon. He took out Cradily in a heartbeat and he went on to have an intense battle with Metagross. While Pikachu took a lot of punishment, he was still able to endure, and thanks to his unyielding fighting spirit, he refused to give up, and he pushed through, overcoming impossible odds and coming out on top in the end. The final moments of the battle were truly something special. I absolutely love how Pikachu bended the electricity to his will in order to overpower Metagross. The final strike with Iron Tail was truly one epic moment. Now I was honestly disappointed because Ash did not Gigantamax Gengar, which is what I was hoping would happen and what I thought would happen, since Gengar is the one that battled and defeated Pulse Metagross. But once I realized that it had been a while since we last saw Pikachu in a World Coronation Series battle, I ended up accepting that having Pikachu be the MVP this time was the right choice, since we needed a reminder of Pikachu's strength and resolve. This time Pikachu deserved to get the chance to be the ace that carries Ash to victory. And he truly was the ace, which is so cool. It is also fitting that Ash's greatest partner is largely responsible for Ash's first victory in this tournament. So yeah, overall I really did like Ash vs Steven. While I do think that it could have been better, it was still nonetheless a cool, intense, and exciting battle. Beyond the battle, it was great to see Paul again, especially because we got to see him smile when he saw that his training helped Ash. It was also amazing to see Ash's old Pokemon, Professor Oak, Ash's mom, and Tracy again. It was also very nice to see so many returning characters from the Hoenn region, many of which I had actually forgotten about. So it was nice to take a trip down memory lane in order to remember all of them. Finally, the only gripes I had with the episode, other than what happened to Dracovish, are that May did not appear alongside the other characters from Hoenn and that the first phase of the tournament is now over and Ash did not really interact with any of the Masters 8 except for Iris. Steven, Alon, and Iris even left, and who knows if we will see them again. We probably will, but they will probably only show up briefly watching and reacting to the upcoming battles. I just think that it is a huge waste to gather so many amazing characters only to not let them actually interact much with each other. And this episode not only exemplified this waste, but it ensured that this will not be rectified, which is so unfortunate. But yeah, while this episode was far from perfect, it was still a good enough episode and a decent enough conclusion to the first round of the Masters Tournament. Here's hoping that the remaining battles will be much better and as amazing as they deserve to be. But that's the video. As always, Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.